All right, welcome to another episode of Rooting for Laundry. I'm your host, Johnny McDonald. You can follow us at Root for Laundry on IG and Twitter, as it says on the ticker. Follow us, like us, subscribe, share on the YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. This is episode 31. Thank you for joining us. Today, we got a special episode. It's fun talking to two guys I go way back with. So this is going to be a dope one. We're going to be covering the career of Conor McGregor. It's gonna be dope, and I have two guys who been in the game and saw everything during this guy's career. So my first guest, he just went viral on with the Larson Pippen interview. Comedian, good friend of mine. Get up for Adam Glyn. What's up, bro?
What's up, Johnny?
Oh man, thanks for joining me, man. And my next guest, good friend of mine. We go way back. You can see him hear him on ESPN Radio, WABC, Fox News, everything. Give it up for man Mike Gunz.
What up?
How you doing, man?
Let's go. Man. Let's go. 31 episodes, baby. That's cool, man.
Yeah, I made it. Thank you, man. I'm not doing as good as you guys, but I'm proud of both of you guys. You guys are good guys and been doing your thing, man. So let's get to it. Conor McGregor, Mystic Mac, made his UFC debut in April of 2013, and then went on a tear, went 5-0, and with notable wins over Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, and they would go on to become champs. Performance of the night, KOs. Gunz, I'll start with you. When did you first starting to hear the buzz about Conor McGregor?
I mean, there was always something kind of special about him. You think about those. I'm trying to think. I mean, probably in the middle of that beginning, his massive win streak early on. Where it was just like, all right, because in the UFC, it's like, okay, you win 3 or 4, especially in the way that it was, like in the, the 2000s and throughout the early 2010s. It's like, all right, you win 3 or 4. It's like, okay, some buzz is happening, but you need to be able to prove that it's not just, just some sort of oh yeah, he's cool, and then he can't back it up. But when Conor was winning, and then when he actually, the transitional point for Conor was when he was able to bring out his attitude, his I don't give a damn about you, I'm going to say things the way they are. Great marketer. He knew exactly what he was doing the whole entire time, and just his his kind of aura that he was always able to bring. But I am pumped up. I do a lot of stuff over at SiriusXM's Fight Nation channel. So we've been all about this Conor news, even the lead up to it. Was it really going to happen against him and Dustin, etc.? And fingers crossed it still does happen, because you never know with Conor, as we've learned to the years. But I do think that this is going to happen against Dustin. I'm happy. I'm excited, because the truth is, I don't know how many more years we do get with Conor McGregor, and the sport is the biggest when Conor McGregor is fighting. You cannot deny that. Even though he's taking, he didn't fight at all last year. He didn't fight at all in 2019. And he also didn't fight at all in 2017, which is wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
And yet Conor McGregor is still one of the biggest superstars of any sport across the whole entire globe. And that is special.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm going to bounce it off to you, Adam. When did you first start feeling the popularity of Conor? And
it's actually interesting. I remember going to a UFC event maybe about 7 years ago, and this is when I don't know what year, roughly 7 years ago. This is when they announced that the UFC was making a partnership with Reebok, and I remember that. There, they had I think Ronda was there, and they had a bunch of fighters there, and Conor was there. And I remember like the hardcore UFC fans that were hanging outside. It was at the Dream Downtown. Were like all about Conor, and this was before Conor became, I would like to say, the Conor circus. It wasn't as many people around him. And you just remember seeing the hardcore fans like, this guy is great. This guy's the next big deal. And I remember myself, I was like, I'm getting a photo with him. And I took a photo with me and him like we're about to fight each other. People in the underground were like just talking about this guy like he's going to become a star. But, when you met him, you knew there was like this inner confidence with him. You knew he was building this person up, this character up. And then obviously came, he fought overseas. He came to New York. And again, I think he started making fans of the hardcore fans of the UFC. Those are the people that knew him. They loved this guy. And, UFC bet on him. And it was a smart bet. It worked out well in their favor. He made a lot of money for them. And like Gunz said, no one puts on a show like him. He's not even, right now, I would say he's maybe not even the 4th or 5th best in his division. However, we still talk about him. We still want him to fight the champion, because there's nothing like a Conor McGregor fight. There's some excitement that guy brings to a fight that all your energy goes towards. And no matter if he's fighting Cowboy Cerrone, who's past his prime, or he's fighting, he's fighting a guy who's up for the belt, a number 1, number 2 contender. He puts on a show every single time. There's some sort of excitement around a Conor McGregor fight.
Not to mention, like, being from Ireland, his whole, like, you've seen fighters like Tyson Fury from England or their countrymen really support. They come out and drove to support this guy wherever he is. And that's what's big too.
What's great about Conor, though, is obviously everybody has stereotypes and whatnot, but Conor literally has that I'm a badass, I will smack and crack a beer bottle over your head type attitude. You know what I mean? Just that ruthlessness that, if you go to Ireland and get into, say, a bar fight with somebody, that's somebody that Conor McGregor would be. Like, you know what I mean? He would, no holding back, bro. He would go wild on you. So he kind of brings across that just like, I'm going to mess you up no matter where we are, what we're doing type attitude. And I think that just like for why people love Stone Cold Steve Austin during the WWE Attitude Era, I feel like that's what Conor brings in a little bit.
I mean,
he definitely does.
That's some of the biggest press conferences in the past few years. It's always a Conor McGregor press conference because you want to see what he's going to do next. From the famous quote saying, who the fuck is that guy?
The guy, yeah.
That's one of the most quoted lines in UFC press conferences. It's just, he's so good. He's charismatic. He knows what he's doing. And there's an interesting guy that you see with Conor McGregor. You see the guy when the cameras are on him, but when he's off camera, it's always about respect. He'll go to the fighters he likes. And
that's so true.
Man, thank you so much. He shows so much respect. So that, he changed the game where other fighters like a Chris Weidman, who, wasn't necessarily a trash talker, is now kind of knowing how to play the game a little bit. Everyone understands like this is a big part of the business is, you got to be able to sell a fight. You got to sell a show. And, a lot of times it's like with fighting in general, it's such a bizarre sport because no one really cares about a belt at the end of the day. Would you rather have a belt that you can have for 10 months or would you rather get $14 million? You'd rather get $14 million. No one cares about the belt. It's how you make money. We could start our own belts. We could say
it's a decoration.
Gunz, Adam, and Johnny belt, and we'll pay Conor for
and that's what they did with the BMF, the Bad Mother Effer belt. Yeah. They were just like, oh, listen, it's at Madison Square Garden. Let's just sell that many more pay-per-views. Let's just make a belt up out of it.
Absolutely nothing. The belt to me, absolutely nothing. And that's what he realizes. He knows it. So would you rather belt or rather get paid? These guys rather get paid. It's a business. They're trying to make their money while they can. And I'm excited for Conor to fight Dustin in January, but I think it's a fair fight for both sides. Obviously you can't put Conor against a belt right now. I'm excited to see where Dustin's at and see where he, if he gets a good rematch, if he gets a good rematch against Conor. I'm excited to see what kind of Conor we're going to see. But Conor's getting older. We don't know how much, what kind of Conor we're going to see.
And he has a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting what you said, though, because I think you're exactly right. That this Dustin matchup is the best thing. Conor was not going to take a match that he can't win. He knows he's got a real strong possibility to beat Dustin. He's probably going to be, he will be favored to beat Dustin. But Dustin's still a damn good fighter. But there was no way Conor was going to come back and face like Justin or Tony or somebody like that because he wants something that he can beat. You know what I mean? He already beat Dustin in the past, and the matchup is perfect for Conor to win this. But I am happy, though, that we are getting this fight. Now, I have no idea what happens after this fight. I don't know if then he goes on to face what they do with the title. We don't know what happens with Khabib. I hope to God, and I wanted to get you guys' opinion on that. I hate that. I know there's all these rumors like he's going to go back to boxing. Like maybe he faces Pacquiao. Like, I don't know, Adam. You're a big guy on. You just love chaos, and you're the guy running around with the cameras outside their hotel rooms. Are you? Would you like the boxing just because you know how big that is, like from a media world type thing?
As a media person, I would love it. For me, that's how I make my money. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I know that's a lot of work. Yeah, a lot of eyeballs.
Content.
Yep.
It's content. So media-wise, I love it. As a fan, I'm over it. I'm over these fights. I'm over these super fights. It's done. He did it once before. I mean,
yeah, that was very special when it done.
And it was great, and obviously it's, but yet again, as a fan, I'd rather see him focus on MMA. I'd rather focus him on UFC, but I can't be mad at a guy who's chasing money. This is a guy who's trying to make his money and he's going to try to keep, and that's what all these guys are doing. And it's not just Conor.
And a lot of fighters don't make a lot of money. Like, you have your tier champions and then after that,
Especially compared to boxing. Boxing, I mean,
Yeah.
like the Canelo's contract. I mean, so some of the headliners are making, like clearly under $1 million in UFC if you're headlining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's why like performance of the night, even though it's like 15,000.
Yeah, those bonuses help out.
Those bonuses matter because they don't get those
really
guaranteed boxing contracts. That I mean, you can be like the third fight on a boxing card and make more money than the headliner in a UFC pay-per-view, which is fucking wild.
So I mean, I can't be mad at the Israel Adesanya's and the Stipe's for putting the word out like, hey, if anybody's interested for a boxing fight, approach our team. We'd be down for a boxing fight. Of course, they want to get paid a lot of money, but money, there's money there. The thing is, people rather go see a Logan Paul fight now than some of these fights. That's crazy the amount of money that the Logan Paul KSI fights. With his brother making money.
And then you have Jake Paul and Nate Robinson on the undercard. Yeah, he's on the undercard of Tyson Leroy Jones. Yeah, that's going to be interesting too.
It's again Nate Robinson. Whoever thought Nate Robinson, like who's like, oh, I want to see Nate Robinson box. But people are chasing money. So anybody wants to throw their name in the boxing for sure because they're just trying to get paid. Do you think Conor McGregor? I can't say that. Do Conor McGregor actually think he could beat Floyd Mayweather? I mean, Conor's insane, but maybe there's some part about him that he has that inner confidence that he thought he could actually do it. But Floyd Mayweather is this guy who that's all he knows. Floyd's not going to the MMA world.
Totally.
Floyd stuck to his thing. We kind of knew how that thing was going to. And honestly, what I loved, I remember seeing a behind the scenes of that Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight. And after the first round, Floyd went back to his corner. He's like, "Hey guys, love you guys." Like he knew he had it. He knew he had it. Guys, I got this. Like,
he was playing with them. He was playing.
Before that, Adam, let me get the story about you, like, because you're basically kind of get credit for starting the fight. So just tell us the backstory of how did you saw Floyd first, right? You interviewed Floyd first.
So I was at the time I was at TMZ. So Conor McGregor wins UFC 205 in New York. Was at the fight, beats Jose Aldo. You were there, Johnny, right?
Yeah, I was there. Gunz, were you there?
Yeah. I think we all saw each other there.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? Let's go back real quick to that. Yeah, let's go back to that UFC 205 where, like, the Garden, first UFC event ever at the Garden. How did you guys feel about just being it's here, like UFC is finally here? The whole card, even wild, the prelims, was stacked.
Yeah, the build up to that was awesome. So I was working for ABC at the time, and ABC was, and Johnny, ABC and ESPN were upstairs at Bud Madison Square Garden. So just the lead up to that, we never knew if Cuomo was officially going to kind of come across and allow it to be legalized. And he finally legalized it. And then, of course, it's like, all right, well, it's going to be at the Garden. Now, it's the world's most famous arena, despite James Dolan being the actual worst person ever. Yeah. It's still kind of, we still were excited that it was going to happen there. But when you found out Conor was going to fight and he was going to fight for the title and he was facing 05 was when he was against Eddie Alvarez.
So Alvarez, 205, yeah.
Yes. he faced Aldo a couple years later, but he was against Eddie Alvarez. And, dude, I remember tickets. So I was part of the media, but they gave us real tickets because it was such a huge media event. Yeah. And I was up on the press bridge, and the ticket, I still have it hanging up, was $890 just for the bridge, dude. Because that's how much this fight was. It made so much money. These tickets were so expensive, but it was something special, man. And then Conor ended up winning it. And I remember people were jumping outside of cars outside, screaming, who the fuck is Alvarez?
Never seen nothing like it. Yeah,
it was a great way for UFC to get kicked off in New York City, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great card. It was a lot of excitement. It was the best card it could be for the first night.
Yeah. Rashad Evans was on the prelims. I remember it was like all these guys that would be on the main event, would be on the main card were on the prelims. It was a wild card. It was a stacked card.
It was a stacked card, but there was the energy. It could have been better. You had the Conor McGregor fans going there. And to be honest with you, I thought, this was like the down part of Eddie Alvarez, but I was like, dude, Eddie Alvarez is pretty good. And
he's great. I mean, I love him in Bellator. I'm a big Bellator guy. So, yeah, I love them in Bellator. Came in and Conor, I think the thing with Conor, he talks so much, but he can back it up. He's like, the fight with Aldo, 13 seconds. The fight with even, building up to the championship. tier, like going,
that was
going on
game
the 5
changer
fight.
though.
Yeah.
If he had to win that New York City fight, because that really was boom. Because then you go from that to obviously, the next time we would see him was Barclays Center and or supposed to all that chaos. So, but if he doesn't win at the Garden, if he doesn't get that belt and then kind of not really fight on the belt, but at least he has it. Well, he was the unified champion. He had 2 belts at the time, and then he doesn't fight on 80 of them, etc. But if he loses that to Eddie and doesn't win that belt, then he has to take a step back. But once he won that one, it was no holding back. Conor was going to be Conor.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Conor McGregor wins that night in New York City. I remember it was a late night. It was 1:30 in the morning.
Late, yeah.
In front of Penn Station, everyone's doing ole, ole, ole.
Yep.
Yeah, insane. Actually, the video. We're actually coming to the anniversary because the video just popped in my timeline.
Yeah. Well, November 12th. Yeah, a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So it just came on my timeline the other day. So that Sunday, everyone's talking about Conor McGregor. Monday, everyone's talking about Conor McGregor. Tuesday, I get a tip that Floyd Mayweather is shopping in the Diamond District. So I have my camera, and I ran up to Floyd, and the street was sort of empty. It couldn't have been a better time to get him. And I'm doing my journalistic stuff, my street journalist and paparazzi stuff. And I go, Floyd, what you think of Conor? And he just looks at me, and he went off on a 5-minute rant about Conor McGregor, saying never compare an elephant to an ant. And then
I did. I just watched it.
And I remember it was just I just let him speak. I was like, I'm not going to he just kept going. And it was 5 minutes all over Conor McGregor. And just like that, Floyd Mayweather took the win from Conor McGregor. The next day, I knew that Conor McGregor was still in town, and I had a tip that he was eating lunch at some place in Hell's Kitchen. So I ran up, you got to remember that it was a Tuesday night. Everyone's talking about Floyd Mayweather at night. Boom, just like that. He took away Conor McGregor Sunday. Next day, I get that Conor McGregor's still in New York. He's eating lunch. I get him leaving lunch, and I ask him about the quote, and he goes, tell him to say it to my face. And all of a sudden, boom, just like that, the internet started talking about a super fight. The next day, I get Floyd Mayweather again talking trash about Conor McGregor. Then the next day, I get Dana White talking trash about Floyd Mayweather. And it was just going back and forth and back. And just every single day, it was like a new thing going to it, which got the internet talking, which kind of created this fight. So, and all I got was a souvenir cup out of it. But
I know. I think I texted you. I was like, I know you're at the fight, right? And he's like, no. I'm like, you started this thing.
Yeah, dude.
That's funny.
Thing, but it's,
man.
I have a video of Floyd thanking me for starting one of the biggest fights ever. It's just cool to say a little part of that history thing. So it was just cool, man. It was surreal.
Now Floyd's your guy, though, right? Don't anytime, Didn't you see him?
I saw him last time I saw him was Super Bowl weekend. And, for a long time, he wasn't my guy. We weren't really cool with each other. He used to have these scary bodyguards. But
he
now,
still does.
I know his team. So, when they see me, I know his assistant. I know all his bodyguards, and he's got a serious crew. We all know each other. It's cool. And, I saw Floyd during Super Bowl weekend. I was in Miami. And it's fun. I see him what up, Floyd? It's just what up, dude?
Right, yeah.
You're my guy, right? You're my guy. Even when I see Conor, which I don't see him enough anymore because I only see him when he comes to New York. But Conor's always good to me. I have a good he gives me I don't get to have a really good in depth heart to heart with Conor.
Absolutely.
But whenever we see each other, he gives me the wink you're my guy.
He knows, yeah.
We have a good relationship.
He's you made me a lot of money. He's you made me a lot of money by giving me that Floyd fight.
A lot of money, but you know what? He also made me some pretty good money. Not as much as I made him, but I made him some good money. So man, it's just it's cool. It's really it's cool, man. He's a man.
I think what's unique about what's happening with Conor McGregor, and I love him, and I'm so I like I said, we need to appreciate what we have right now with him because I really don't know. You have Israel. I love Izzy's awesome, and Izzy's the man for sure. But he's still, and he is getting there, but he's still not Conor. And it's a different fighting. He fights differently, etc. But he different weight class. I think if Izzy fights John Jones, that will be that will propel
that could be the biggest
Izzy
fight
to the next level. But besides Conor, once we don't have Conor, nobody's really fully filled that gap since he's been gone. Since he didn't fight in 2019, people are still talking, when is Conor coming? You know what I mean? There was always when is Conor going to be around? Yeah. And I think that's interesting because I have no idea who takes over Conor's place in the world of MMA.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the only person who could really do it is Izzy. Izzy is a fun guy. He's interesting. I think the fans like him. I think one of the coolest quotes is when he goes, "I'm prepared to die" in the middle of that third round or the last round. And I think that was just really cool. And then obviously he dances. He's fun. He's fun with the fans. He's animated.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think the turning point is if we ever see him fight John Jones. We don't know if that's going to happen. But if he fights John Jones and he wins, I think that's going to be that's going to be the turning point for him in his career.
Let's shift. Let's talk about the money fight itself. Going into the lead up, how they had the press conferences, and they did the whole press tour and the build up, and the Floyd and Conor just talking shit. I went to the Barclays Center one, and that was a lot of mayhem too. To the point, it was free. Yeah, it was free. And if you got a ticket, I think they were going in seconds on Ticketmaster. Some people paid like hundreds of dollars just to see the press conference. Were you guys there? And talk about if you were, or whatever, did you see all the pandemonium going on?
So I'm trying to remember, because I remember I was at. I'm getting them confused. I know Barclays, what happened with Conor.
Oh, the media day. That was media at 220 UFC 223. The media day. With Khabib versus Alan.
I was at right. Yeah, I was at the
bus incident.
Right. That was So I was at the one with. I can't. I was not wherever the dolly was. I was not there for that one. I was at the other one. I was with Conor when he's shoving the whiskey in front of Khabib's face, and then I know I was at the Mayweather Conor one. I guess that might have been Barclays Center. I guess that was Barclays. One, right?
No. They did each city. They did New York, LA, Toronto.
Gotcha. I think there were three that they did. I just remember I didn't get a question in, but I mean, it was interesting to see just the difference when you brought in the boxing world and just how much bigger boxing is across the country, or at least getting that respect. Because at the time, ESPN, this is when ESPN kind of like sort of started grasping onto UFC, because they never really fully did. They were always
they did. They were really
they
kind
were
of
always still
it,
boxing, and this was like kind of the first time. It's like, all right, maybe we should. This before the ESPN deal even came down, so it was like, all right, well, we can't ignore UFC or MMA right now anymore, because they couldn't. I just remember it was just a spectacle because it was Mayweather. It was.
First of all those press conferences, they always started so late. I remember that.
I think Floyd got there 3 hours. Both of them got like combined 3-4 hours late. It was insane.
They were there so late. It was insane. I was like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, this is. And I remember they had like before the Floyd and Conor, they had this little bit like backstage, like sort of like red carpety where you could do some interviews. And these two never showed up. And I remember they were trying to stall, and it was just so late. And it was just hours just wasting time. But then I had a great seat for the actual press conference. I was like right up front where Conor comes like down the long kind of runway.
Yeah.
Floyd had
I remember,
runway.
Yeah.
It was such a good show. And it was like, like Floyd's not a good trash talker.
He's not. I
don't know what it was. And Conor, it was just like they did all their material already, and New York was at the end. So they didn't have any more material. So they both ran out of material. They weren't like mad at each other. They all knew. You could tell they both.
You all knew. Yeah, it was like WWE. It's it's all about.
You're right though, because they did run out of things to say, and even the Khabib stuff. Like it got to a point once you start doing multiple press conferences, it's like how much more is there to say? You know what I mean? But with the Mayweather one, you're exactly right, because that was true. By the last one, it was just like, just fight already. There's nothing else to say. Just fight already. Yeah.
That's true.
I remember that.
The cool part is the night before the Conor and Floyd press conference, I knew where Floyd was going to check in. And so I waited there, and he didn't get in until about like 1 a.m. He came from, I think it was Toronto, I believe. And he got there like 1 a.m. and I was at the hotel, and Floyd got in with his entourage. You see, he comes with a big crew, and Floyd got in at 1 a.m. and went for a run. And I went for a run with Floyd.
I remember that.
And I ran with him. And then I ran with him for like 4 blocks. He's like, we're good. He's like, you got it. And I was like, all right, cool. And I just let him be. But it's interesting to see Floyd run, because he has him running, and then he has his bodyguards in the SUV behind him. And then somebody like, oh, Floyd, or like try to like run after him, and they would literally just be like, stop. Like they put a flash.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they don't play around.
Like it was like
yeah.
These are not these. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly what they do. But that was kind of cool. I got to say I ran with Floyd Mayweather at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
That's wild, bro.
Cool. Yeah.
So the money fight, it happens. I mean, what did you think of Conor's performance during the money fight? It was I thought it was excellent. I thought he did a good job, even though I know Floyd kind of toyed around, let him get some shots in, but Conor showed the stamina of a guy. You know, it's not MMA where you're going longer in boxing. You know what I'm saying? 10 rounds and then he knocked him out.
You could tell that he got gassed, and it's a different type of preparation that you're doing when you are doing these boxing rounds. And the big thing was like, all right, well, they're gonna remember the big thing they were arguing. It's like, well, they're gonna go smaller gloves. They're gonna in order for like the punches. Yeah, and of course that was never gonna happen, but it was good for the media to talk about every single week.
Absolutely,
when there was a different thing that happened. I'm surprised Conor went as long as he did, but then when you really go back and watch it, I mean, Floyd was essentially picking him apart, but not going all the way. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm surprised that it went to 7 rounds or whatever. I think the
10. It went 10.
Oh, 10, whatever.
Knocked him out in the 10th.
I'm very surprised that went that far, but you could see that he was gassed. I mean, Conor had no idea.
Yeah. Adam, what did you think of the fight?
I agree with Gunz. It was he didn't do bad. He didn't do bad at all.
He didn't deny. He did. I think he did.
He got. I wouldn't say he ever hurt Floyd. He got a few shots in, but
he got some good ones in. Yeah.
Fighter and kind of allows a few punches to get in there. But Floyd was never at a point where he knew he was in trouble. He knew he had it. Especially when you watch the fight again, you're like, oh, Floyd knew he was doing. He knew he was going to gas himself out. I thought. Am I say he did? Did I think he do? Do I think he did better than I thought he was going to do? I don't know. It was just like he wasn't using his legs as much. Obviously, he punched from the legs, a lot of power.
Yeah,
but I thought he did.
There was a point. There was a couple of instances when his MMA instincts kicked in, and he grabbed him from behind at one point. Because you're fighting a whole different discipline. So sometimes you're going to get carried. It's going to happen.
My biggest disappointment of the fight was how it ended. If you want a knockout, I wanted to be on the ground out for 10. That's what we wanted, and it wasn't like a strong, good knockout.
Totally. I remember being like, if you're going to do it. And they're like, no, well, you had to. Like, he's getting hit in the head. I was like, no, but he's also getting paid $300 million or whatever the hell it is. Like, he can get knocked out. Please, for the love of God, get knocked out.
I honestly think if Conor got knocked down to the ground, I think he loses his edge a bit, because like now there'll be memes everywhere of him just laying out on the ground, and that's hard to come back from. It's kind of like when that kind of what ended Ronda Rousey's career when Holly Holmes knocked her out, and just memes were everywhere, and just like, she couldn't take the pressure. Conor ended up looking good because he didn't fall to the ground. So the ref kind of saved his career a bit. You know what I'm saying? Didn't make him look as bad if he fell face first on the canvas.
That he didn't go viral for being, out cold with, birds flying. But still, like, as a fan aspect, I remember just being in a bar with hundreds of other people, and we're all watching it, and they're like, all the bars had the cover that you had to pay to get inside, and like,
it was
And the thing is, I didn't give a damn about any other fight on that card. I had no idea
absolutely.
I'm betting randomly. I'm betting with like these people just because just to pass the time, because I just wanted to see the main event, and then but it was so loud, and like. It was wild, man, because I am an MMA fan more than boxing, and like I fully admit that. But like, I'm rooting for Conor, and the boxing people around me are like, dude, calm down. Like, wait and see what happens. Like, Floyd is good, dude. Floyd is good.
He knew what he was doing. He's so wasn't the most exciting fight. I mean, I guess it was exciting because you didn't know what was going to happen, but
I think from Floyd's perspective, it's the most entertaining fight I've ever seen Floyd fight. In a long time, because most of the time Floyd just owns these guys. You know what I'm saying? You can't hit him, so what you gonna do? So
yeah, but I tell you what though, that was the final fight where I was truly over Mayweather and his defensive boxing. I like the defensive boxing and just his whole game plan. It's just I hate that. I hate that so much, man. It's so frustrating.
I totally get it. Let's fast forward to August 3rd, 2018. Conor fights Khabib finally for the lightweight title. Khabib is the champ going in. And did you anybody gave Khabib a chance? I mean, Conor a chance during that fight?
It's funny, man, because out of all the people that have fought Khabib, Conor has done the best. Justin got one shot in against him. Conor lasted the longest out of anybody who did fight him.
Yes, he did. Yeah, 4 rounds.
Justin Gaethje just got effing smoked by Khabib.
Yeah.
So it does show that maybe Conor had a better game plan than we were able to give. Now, that was unlike anything else. I remember being at the press conference and just lead up to it and just hearing the rumblings, and also the fact that like it went from like, haha, we're just going to shit talk, to Khabib's people, especially from his home country, literally wanting to like them versus like the Irish mob, like straight up. Like it went from being like haha to like, no, those people, they do not mess around in Khabib's home country. Like they will make you disappear type shit. And even in Vegas, just hearing the stories about the people that flew out, the Khabib's people that flew out to Vegas was just like wild. I mean, dude, look at what happened afterwards. Like that wasn't a joke. Like he went after the father. He went after some scary dudes that were behind the scenes, were at that fight. And dude, you literally had a fighter jump over the cage into the crowd because he was not joking around, where Conor was just talking shit to sell the fight. It was definitely two different worlds. There was nothing like it. It sucked how bad Conor lost though. He did a good. He's done the best against Khabib, but he still didn't even come close.
Yeah, just annihilated him. Talk about it, Adam. Did when you watch that?
Yeah, no,
Conor
I mean,
Khabib.
listen, Khabib made it his fight. I never thought that Conor really had a chance with this Khabib fight. It's a whole different type of fight. Khabib, Conor's strength is in his punches. He's got a lot of.
He's a striker versus a wrestler. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and then Khabib gets so close to you where you don't get the power coming from the punches. He can't really connect with his punches because he just mauls you, puts his weight on you, and just exhausts you. When you have that weight on you and he's strong, he literally showed his weakness, which is, his endurance. And I kind of knew that was going to happen. As far as the stuff that happened after, no. But Khabib was not really a trash talker, like obviously you could just tell he was
very humble, very religious guy.
He's not enjoying it. Like you want to keep talking. He's not enjoying this, but he's not going to come back because he doesn't feel confident in his English enough to kind of talk smack back, and I don't think it's in his nature to kind of talk trash.
Yeah.
However, I mean, it was He's the man. Khabib is the real deal, and I think after this last fight,
undefeated, nobody's good. Yeah,
I don't even think Justin was even, Justin's a good fighter, but Justin wasn't the collegiate best wrestler in college. Like Khabib is on a whole nother level.
Yeah, he wrestled a bear as a kid, so you're not hitting a guy like that. He's already fear doesn't. He can't fear anything. If you're
he's just on a whole different level, and I don't know if there's anybody right now in the current card that really could stand a chance to him.
Nobody can beat him.
Gunz, do you think there's anybody that there's on the roster currently that could even put out a good, not just a good fight, that has a solid, even a chance? I don't think anybody even has a chance of beating
nobody.
him.
There's nobody. I'm surprised. The only thing is if he. Would it be? Would he go up to fight like a Stipe or somebody? You know what I mean? Like it would have. He would
have to go up.
It would have to do somebody like that because now there's nobody.
There's
nobody that can go against
Usman.
Even that though, I mean, just because he's big doesn't mean he's good. He's good, but you know what I mean. Just Khabib is just so. Like you said, man, he's so powerful, and those things just wear you down. And he's 29-0. I do think, I truly do believe that he will fight again and go 30.
The GSP rumors are out there too.
Yeah, not Steve, but GSP. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
he does fight like a GSP, final fight of all time, because GSP won, and then just like, oh, I'm not going to fight again. And he beat Bisping.
Never just dropped the belt. Yeah.
So it would have to be something like that for Khabib to come back. I truly do believe he does go 30-0. But as of right now, Adam, there is nobody that dude. He didn't even break a sweat against Justin. He literally did not break a sweat against Justin at all.
Again, I bet pretty heavy on that Khabib fight. He's just on a whole nother level. I think he's just built very strong, and he's just got a good camp around him. And this is all he does. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's anybody. He really could be, like if John Jones fights, I feel like there's people that could kind of potentially beat John Jones, depending on.
Especially the last couple of fights, he hasn't looked great.
He looks
in the
vulnerable.
last couple of fights. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. John Jones has had a great career. He's just been fighting for a long time, and so has Khabib.
Yeah.
However, I just don't think there's anybody that can even connect with Khabib. I don't even think if he took a shot, was there even like in the Conor fight? Did he even take any good shots? I don't think.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
He never got like phased or stunned, but it's just that Conor was able to do more than anybody else was able to do. And
he lasted.
But that doesn't even say a lot though, because he didn't do anything. He still got crushed.
Yeah. So
what happens, man, against Dustin? It'll be interesting.
Let's also talk about I guess like all of 2019, Conor didn't fight. He's talking about he's retiring and unretired. Then he comes out January of this year before all the shit went down. UFC 246, he fights Cowboy Cerrone and TKO 40 seconds. Talk about that fight. How did you when Conor came back, haven't fought in a while, MMA wise, and talking about Conor's performance in UFC 246 against Cowboy?
I mean, it was just, I understand why they had him get against Cerrone. You know, you understand why they were going to put him against a guy that you need to put him against a somewhat of a name, but you're not going to put him against a guy who, like we said before, a number 1, 2, or 3, even 4 contender. Donald would take any fight. There was mutual respect where they know it couldn't get out of hand. You know, there wasn't any trash talking. They respected each other. It was what it was. It was just, it wasn't great. I mean, the shoulder punches, the shoulder hits, what he did to kind of bloody him up was just kind of like gross. And that's like, ooh, like that's a nasty move. But it wasn't like where you say you can't. I don't think you watched that fight and said, "Oh, Conor's back," or you're saying, "Oh, Conor is the best fighter out." No, it was just you got against Cerrone, who is at the end of his career. Like Dana is at that point where you should have that conversation. Is it worth fighting anymore? That's where that's where he stands with Donald. So I understand why they did the fight. Totally get it. It was a good fight for him to come back to. I just hope that we see more of it.
Yeah. So now we talked about he's coming back to fight Dustin, and now his legacy. We're wrapping up now. Now his legacy. I mean, he's made a lot of money for the UFC. Almost all his pay-per-views sold 1 million plus buys. He did the money fight, which is probably the greatest spectacle we've seen in combat sports. So at the end of the day, I'll start with you, Gunz, because I know you got to go. What do you think Conor's legacy will be going forward?
I mean, here's the thing: if he beats Dustin, what happens after that? Will he fight? The thing with Conor doesn't need the UFC. The UFC needs Conor. Well, and I don't even know how much longer that's even going to be, because he didn't fight at all last year. He didn't fight in 2017. And how much more does he have? Because here's the thing. If Conor wins the belt again, there's no guarantee that he's even going to defend it, because he's already proven that he hasn't defended the belt in the past. So
he's technically never defended his title.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that's frustrating. I think Conor, a very unique game changer, one of the best to ever do it, but also very frustrating. And I think even for diehard fans out there, I mean, he said he was going to fight 3 times this year. He fought once. Now, was it always his fault? No. That's a Cerrone fight. I love Cerrone. I think he's, he's badass dude, just wants to get paid. He's fought everybody 40 plus whatever times, fights, etc. He just wanted to take a fight. He's like, whatever. If I lose, I lose, whatever. I'm still going to at least do something. But Conor will go down as a unique, really good, badass fighter, game-changing, revolutionized the game and the sport, but also very frustrating. Very frustrating.
Adam, what do you think? He's also made a lot of entrepreneurial with the whiskey and the suits. So he's a game changer.
Yeah, I think he changed the game as far as when it came to fighting. It's hard to say. I think John Jones has been more frustrating because of
another
thing, John. I think Conor is definitely I guess frustrating, you can't say. I'd say he pissed off a lot of people. And when the people he pissed off are a lot of the fans. Because you want to see him to keep fighting. You want to, stop playing with our heads. Stop playing with the game. Stop playing the game too much. Like, you want us over with the game, but now you're playing the game so much that it's almost wanting us to root against you in some ways. It's almost because we're just like, stop, putting this stuff on Twitter where it's just like, is this real? Is this not? Are you coming back? Is this a real fight? It's just
getting into his emotions.
What's real and what's not. And it's like the boy who cried wolf. It's like, we're not going to believe you anymore. We're not going to believe that you're the best fighter out there. So I just hope that he kind of you know, if he's going to start fighting, he's got to start fighting soon. I understand this next fight's going to be a good one. It's going to be a very big one. I think it's a very fair fight for him. But I'm curious what he goes.
A lot of money goes to charity too, which is good. Yeah.
I don't want to see him fight Manny Pacquiao. I don't want to see him go into boxing. I want to stick to MMA. I want to stick what he's good at, and I want him to see if he has a chance of winning a belt again.
Yeah, definitely, man.
That's it.
All right, guys. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me, man. I appreciate you guys. Gunz, anything you want to promote before we go?
I am Gunz. I do a music interview show. I interview a bunch of people. It's called The Gunz Show, Gunz. It's on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere. You can hear me on Sirius XM, ESPN New York, a bunch of places as well. But pretty much just follow me on all the socials at The Gunz Show, and you'll figure out where I'm hopping up around on your local media out there for sure. Gunz with a Z.
Thank you so much. Adam, anything you want to promote before we go?
You can find me at Adam Glyn, GLYN on Instagram. You can check out my podcast, the Hollywood Raw podcast, where we kind of humanize.
You went viral. Yeah, Loss of Pippin. That was big, man.
That was a big one. So we always have some interesting people. We want people that are going to kind of make Hollywood a little bit more understandable for people and kind of break down how the business works and kind of make more interesting and exciting. So yeah, doing that and just kind of having fun, brother. That's it, man. Thanks for having me, Johnny. Good to see you.
Yo, thanks, man. Good to see all you guys, man. We got to go to another fight soon, man.
or drink.
Yeah. Oh yeah, anything, bro. All right, guys.
Cool.
All right, peace.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. That was Adam Glyn and Mike Gunz. Great show. So much fun. Thank you again for watching. Tune in next week. We'll have another guest and another team or an athlete. Follow us at Root for Laundry on IG and Twitter. Like, share, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. All right. My name is Johnny McDonald. Thank you. Have a good one.